So let me get this straight. They're back. They're back. Where y'all at? All right, welcome to Taste Take. If you're new here, today we're doing a spoiler-free review of the new Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. If that's something you're into, hit that subscribe button for your boy. For my regular taste takers, let's see if Axel can still keep the wheels turning after all these years. Get it? I said Axel and the wheels turning? Duh, never mind. Okay, kinda quick background here. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F is the fourth installment of the now iconic Beverly Hills franchise that started almost 40 years ago. Joe Biden had just turned 60. We've seen so many buddy cop movies since then, but in 1984, Beverly Hills Cop was really the first of its kind. We had never seen cops being funny. Not only that, it was the first time that we saw a global black star having a lead in a movie. Back then, black people that starred in movies were big in the United States, but it didn't always translate when they went overseas. To this day, after all these years and all the movies that Eddie Murphy's done, when he goes overseas, they still call him Axel Foley. But of course, that story wasn't always meant to be so. The original person that was supposed to play Axel Foley in Beverly Hills Cop was Mickey Rourke. Now, he's been in a whole bunch of stuff, but honestly, he's the bad guy in Iron Man 2. I don't know what to tell you. That didn't last long though. The studio moved on to cast Sylvester Stallone to play Axel Foley. He was signed on, like he was gonna do it. Stallone got the Beverly Hills Cop script and he asked Paramount if he could rewrite it. Paramount was like, I guess. This dude done took all the damn comedy out, added a gang of extra action scenes, explosions and shit. The budget done ballooned to a number that I don't even know. Paramount was like, boy, if you don't get the hell. Stallone's people gently convinced him to step away from the project. It's too much creative differences. Stallone went on to make his movie Cobra, which in Cobra, you'll see a lot of the elements that he wanted to have in Beverly Hills Cop. Like, good riddance. Do you know that this man, Stallone, wanted to name Axel Foley Axel Cabretti? This man's whole existence is to be Italian. Anyway, after Stallone dropped out, Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer approached Eddie Murphy about taking on the role of Axel Foley. These are two legendary producers. You guys have seen their logo everywhere. At that time, Eddie Murphy was approached to be in Ghostbusters, but he eventually chose to do Beverly Hills Cop because in Ghostbusters, he's part of a team, and in Beverly Hills Cop, he's the lead. Which I don't even blame him. You see what's happening here? The black guy ain't even on the poster. Ain't there only 4 Ghostbusters? You couldn't just sneak him right there in the back? I bet that dude's agent went down to the studio, talked to whoever's in charge, was like, excuse me, I think there's been a huge misunderstanding. Is there a reason why my client's not on the poster with the rest of his Ghostbuster homies? And the person in charge of the studio is like, oh yeah, he's actually on there. He's a ghost. That dude's agent was like, oh, sorry for the misunderstanding, sir. Yeah, sorry. It calls the dude, just like, bro, you're on there, bro. You're a ghost. Hello? What the hell did you just say? It's messed up, man. Why black people can't have nothing nice, bro? You can't even put me on the Ghostbusters poster. Don't you want to sell tickets in Harlem? The 80s was crazy. What was I talking about? The point is, I think Eddie Murphy made the right decision. He got to star in a movie with a $13 million budget that brought over $234 million at the box office. This movie was #1 on the charts for 13 consecutive weeks. And to this day, adjusted for inflation, it's the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. And if we're talking about Beverly Hills Cop, I'll be remiss if I didn't mention that legendary soundtrack. This movie had 3 top 10 singles on the Billboard Top 100 charts. None more famous than that legendary groove called Axel F. That musical piece of heaven was created by a dude named Harold Faltermeyer, who also made the Top Gun theme. So basically, he had the whole 80s Hollywood in a chokehold. It gotta be the most iconic movie sound of all time, right? What do y'all think? Or is it... That's creepy. Anyway, with the success of Beverly Hills Cop Part 1, a sequel followed only 3 years later. The studio actually wanted it to be a TV show, but Eddie Murphy said he wanted to do a movie. Beverly Hills Cop 2 came out in May of 1987 and made almost $300 million on a $29 million budget. But for this one, the critics weren't as kind as the first one. Beverly Hills Cop Part 1 is sitting at a smooth 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. Beverly Hills Cop 2 is sitting at 46%. In a Rolling Stone interview, Eddie Murphy himself said that Beverly Hills Cop 2 was probably the most successful, mediocre movie of all time. This is a direct quote from Eddie. All right, watch. It made $250 million worldwide, and it was a half-assed movie. Cop 2 was basically a rehash of Cop 1, but it wasn't as spontaneous and funny as the original. And if y'all thought that 46% was bad, let me just go ahead and get into Beverly Hills Cop 3 right now. High key, I can make a whole video about what went wrong with Beverly Hills Cop 3, but let me just hit the lowlights. Matter of fact, let me start with another Eddie Murphy quote from 1989. That's 2 years after Beverly Hills Cop 2 came out, when someone asked him about making a third movie. One second. This is a direct quote from Eddie Murphy. He's the star of the movie. There's no reason to do it. I don't need the money, and it's not going to break any new ground. How often can you have Axel Foley talk fast and get into a place he doesn't belong? But these motherfuckers are developing scripts for it. They're in pre-production. The only reason to do a Cop 3 is to beat the bank. And Paramount ain't gonna write me a check as big as I want to do something like that. In fact, if I do a Cop 3, you can safely say, oh, he must have got a lot of money. So yeah, they gave him $15 million. This was the first Beverly Hills Cop movie without the legendary producers of Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer. So you already knew this shit was gonna be trash. Beverly Hills Cop 3 was directed by John Landis. And on the surface, that's not crazy at all. John Landis has directed Eddie Murphy in Trading Places and Coming to America. Two classics, two of the best comedies of all time. What is crazy is that Eddie Murphy and John Landis got into a physical fight while filming Coming to America. So these two working together again is wild. Anyway, before Beverly Hills Cop 3 came out, Eddie Murphy was on this press tour talking to everybody about how they done squashed the beef. So I guess there's hope for Drake and Kendrick after all. I just don't know why you would just get John Landis to direct this movie. Like, you couldn't find someone that he didn't like put in a headlock. It was no one else. There's probably a lot of directors that Eddie Murphy has not put in a headlock. Were any of those people available? But yeah, it's no secret that Beverly Hills Cop 3 was a massive flop, sitting at a whopping 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. And if you're wondering if that's the lowest Eddie Murphy score of all time, you may never have heard of The Adventures of Pluto Nash. Anyway, here's a direct quote from John Landis about Beverly Hills Cop 3. One second. Cop 3 was a very strange experience. The script wasn't any good, but I figured, so what? I'll make it funny with Eddie. But then I discovered on the first day, when I started giving Eddie some shtick, he said, you know, John, Axel Foley is an adult now. He's not a wise ass anymore. So with Beverly Hills Cop 3, I had this strange experience where he was very professional, but he just wasn't funny. I would try to put him in funny situations, and he would find a way to step around them. It's an odd movie. There are things in it I like, but it's an odd movie. Yes, the fuck it is. Okay, I don't have to belabor this point anymore. It's pretty clear that Beverly Hills Cop 3 is not the best movie of all time. Eddie Murphy is very open about discussing why that movie didn't work. It's not like a secret. There's even a mini jab at it in this Axel F movie. So let's all just move on to this latest sequel. Like, bro, they didn't even have Taggart in Beverly Hills Cop 3. How you gonna make Beverly Hills Cop 3 without Taggart? All right, no, we're moving on. But did you see him in an elephant suit? What were you thinking? Those shootouts were so crazy. Okay, we're moving on. Okay, the ups and downs and loops and swoops that these studios have been going through to bring a fourth Beverly Hills Cop movie is so crazy. Again, that could be its own movie. What you guys need to know is that a fourth Beverly Hills Cop movie has been in production for almost 20 years. And Eddie's seen over 10 scripts. I think one of the closest versions we got of a new Beverly Hills Cop was this CBS show in like 2013 where Brandon T. Jackson was supposed to play Axel Foley's son. He's also a cop and kind of like taking on the mantle. The show is really Brandon T. Jackson's show. Eddie Murphy was going to be in the pilot and then here and there a couple episodes as it went on. But Brandon T. Jackson got fired. CBS never picked up the show. I think the audience, you know, when they do those little screenings, when Eddie Murphy wasn't in it, it wasn't getting no love. So it was scrapped. But because I like y'all and y'all been watching this whole video, like this for you, I'm gonna just put a little exclusive little clip of an unreleased show. This is exclusive from me to you. So here's a little snippet of what that show was gonna look like.
Hands in the air now.
I know I ground you a couple of times, but damn,
Show you my people right there. Call the office real quick. Don't make no damn sense. I don't believe I gotta call New York for this.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy Jay-Z. Drop some knowledge.
Yo, boss, we at the front desk right now. The lady's name is Haley Van Born. We trying to plan Blue Ivy's personal birthday party, but the girl at the front desk don't want our business.
I don't think that's
accurate. Yeah, she ain't racist. She's just not being helpful.
Ma'am, you're not racist, right?
No, of course not. Wait a minute.
I think you and Mrs. Z should get on Twitter and Facebook and shut this operation down.
You know what?
I mean, I don't know. Whatever. It could have been fine. I think Brandon T. Jackson really could have been something like in Hollywood. It's a shame that he didn't blow up in Hollywood, because when you talk about a movie like Lottery Ticket, you're talking about one of the biggest Oscar snubs of all time. But don't at me, though. Anyway, fast forward to 2022, where after some COVID delays and Coming to America 2, Netflix announced that Coming to America Axel Foley will be directed by Mark Molloy and written by Will Beall. 30 years since Beverly Hills Cop 3, and Axel F is finally here, with the return of the iconic Jerry Bruckheimer production. All right, plot time. Beverly Hills Cop Axel F follows our boy Axel Foley, who's now kind of become like this pseudo-celebrity cop in Detroit. He's also got a daughter named Jane that's an attorney in Beverly Hills, who's representing a dude who's been accused of killing a cop. Some goons don't like that, so they start to apply some pressure on Jane, trying to get her to drop the case. Axel, who hasn't been the best father and hasn't seen his daughter in years, catches wind of this from our buddy Billy Rosewood. Axel gets on the next thing smoking to Beverly Hills to see what's up. When he gets to LA, he realizes that Rosewood is also in trouble for trying to look into the same case. So Axel has to work with the new school of Beverly Hills PD, solve this case, help Rosewood, and try to repair his relationship with his estranged daughter. And now we got a movie. So what's my take? Yeah, okay. I promise I got more words than that. I'll start with this. I think one of the main reasons of making this movie was to right the wrongs of Beverly Hills Cop 3. Beverly Hills Cop 1 was so iconic, it would be insane to leave the franchise the way they left it in 1994. Here in Axel F, you're getting what I believe to be an attempt to bring back all the elements that we liked about this franchise in the first place. Number one, obviously, Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley. I cannot wrap my head around the fact that we met Axel Foley 40 years ago, and Eddie Murphy at 63 years old is out here looking like he did not miss a beat. Of course, he still looks great, and he has officially become the new spokesperson of Black Don't Crack, but this man has 10 kids, and he still looks like this? I don't even know what he's doing. I mean, he lives a healthy lifestyle, so that's probably a part of it. Also, fun fact, one of his kids is actually in this movie. You can see her arresting him in Beverly Hills. It's how the rich stay rich. Keep it all in the family. Anyway, Eddie's still got the humor, the timing, the energy. You know he's not the same 21-year-old kid from the first one, nor should he be. Now he's got the wisdom, the ambitions to be better, but like still holding on to that youthful spirit of the wise mouth cop we met in Detroit. Number two, the return of Rosewood and Taggart. We have not seen these two together since Beverly Hills Cop 2. Reason number 37 why Beverly Hills Cop 3 was trash. Now, these two might not have the same Black Don't Crack gene, but Judge Reinhold, that plays Rosewood, is 67. And John Ashton, that plays Taggart, is 76. And they're both still running after Axel Foley. Taggart at 76, of course, looks old. There's no way around it. But there's nothing about him playing this role in this movie felt forced or like just dialing it in for nostalgia. And we've seen this like a million times. You know, you got a classic movie and they're trying to bring it back, and you want all the OGs back together, and like maybe some of them are just a little too old, so you just get them on the screen for like 2 seconds, two little stupid lines, and you know the crowd gets to see that yeah, they're still alive and breathing, but it don't really add nothing to the movie. Here in Axel F, Taggart is so damn old, but this was a legit role. It was far from just a meaningless cameo, and you can see that these three still got the same chemistry we know and love from the older movies. And it's not just Taggart and Rosewood, because there's other roles and cameos from the other movies that they brought into this one. It just shows that they took an effort to try to please like the OG Beverly Hills Cop fans. And speaking of Rosewood, when you watch this, you'll see that he's wearing a Guns N' Roses t-shirt for most of the movie. You get it? Like Guns N' Roses, the lead singer of Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose, like Axel Foley, Billy Rosewood. You see what they did there? Oh, you guys knew what they were doing there? You guys didn't know what they were doing there. Anyway, finally, number 3, we got the newbies. Starting with Taylour Paige, who plays Jane Saunders, Axel Foley's daughter. You may remember Taylour Paige if you watched the movie Zola, which apparently I was the only one that liked that movie, or whatever. Then we got Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who plays Officer Bobby Abbott, a young detective at the Beverly Hills PD, who's also got a connection to Jane, because they got a thing going on. He kind of takes on this role as Axel's unofficial partner as they try to figure out what the hell's going on. And it's kind of like a dual role too, because it's like trying to control Axel Foley and then also trying to protect his boo thing, well, his ex-boo thing, or his ex-current. Is complicated, like Jane. The last newbie I'll touch on here is obviously the legendary Kevin Bacon. Here, he plays Captain Cade Grant, also down there at the Beverly Hills PD. You got a nice little cast here, and it's a good mix of old and new. And even the new people are like legends like Kevin Bacon, and like everyone knows Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And Taylour Paige is like kind of an up-and-coming actress, so it's like they even gave people chances. So it was like OGs, legends, up-and-coming actors. That's a good little mix. It's not easy to make a mix like that. Look, is this movie perfect? No. But immediately I'm gonna tell you it's better than Coming to America 2. I thought it was an interesting decision to cast Taylour and Joseph in these roles. Personally, I would have reached out to Keke Palmer to play his daughter, but I probably would have reached out to Keke Palmer to play any damn role. But even though Taylour wasn't perfect, she still gets a couple good lines off trolling her dad, and that's the dynamic. Like, Axel thinks he can do things the same old way that he's been doing it for 40 years, and her telling her like, bro, it's 2024, that shit does not work anymore. And it's up to y'all to decide if you could believe the chemistry between her and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I just didn't find that so critical to the story. I thought it was serviceable. In my opinion, the relationship between her and her dad was much more important to get right. There's also still some cheesy 80s and 90s movie tropes in this movie that are just kind of cringe. Like Axel doing a high-speed chase in a golf cart that you could probably run faster than, slipping out of handcuffs like he's freaking Mystique. Just overall, some corny lines. All right, here's another little thing about Beverly Hills Cop 3. I said I was done talking about Beverly Hills Cop 3, just relax. Eddie Murphy said one of the reasons how he knew that movie was gonna be trashed is because in the script, he just says one of the corniest lines that he hates to hear in movies. He's driving around freaking trying to save Uncle Dave. Uncle Dave is like the Walt Disney of Wonderworld. Remember that dude? So he's got Uncle Dave in the car and he goes, "Don't you die on me." Eddie Murphy said that he hates hearing those corny lines in movies, and that's how he knew that that movie is going to be trash. Now, he does not say, "Don't you die on me" in this movie, but they got some of those corny lines. So you got to just look past that. And at the end of the day, I can look past that because it's crazy hard to make a movie 40 years removed from the original that keeps the OG fans happy and is fresh enough to attract new ones. I'm going to give Beverly Hills Cop Axel F 3 stars. This is the perfect movie for Netflix. It's a holiday weekend. You don't got to worry whether it's worth it or not to gather the whole family together and buy a bunch of tickets to watch the new Eddie Murphy movie. It's not the funniest movie ever. It's not the best sequel ever. It's not better than Bad Boys Ride or Die that just came out, but it's super accessible and I think most people will enjoy it. I would say it's the best Beverly Hills Cop since the first one. I think they did right by the franchise and they gave us something that we could be proud of. Let me just be clear for a second. Eddie Murphy is an absolute legend, and he's one of the few from that era that we got left. We should consider ourselves extremely lucky that he still finds passion in making art for us to enjoy. As for the future of the franchise, Eddie says that they're working on a 5th movie right now with the same writers that did Axel F. But here's something that's more important than even that.
We started doing the Shrek four or 5 months ago. I recorded the first act, and we'll be doing it this year. We'll finish it up, and there'll be another Shrek is coming out. And there's a Donkey. Donkey's gonna have his own movie. We're gonna do a Donkey as well. So we're gonna do a Shrek, and we're doing a Donkey.
This is not a drill, people. So how about a moment of silence for the best news you done heard all week? Thank you. Second best news you'll hear all week, Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F is coming exclusively to Netflix starting on July 3rd. Well, let me do my little closing thing. As always, thanks for checking out Taste Take. If you enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. In the comments, let me know. Of course, I want to know how you rank the Beverly Hills Cops, all 4 of them. Of course, I want to know what's your favorite Eddie Murphy movie. Boomerang's up there. I recently found out that people did not like that movie. I just don't get it. Beverly Hills Cop is up there. Trading Places, damn, it's a lot. Let me just go Boomerang for now, and then I'll just come back to you guys. But Beverly Hills Cop Part 1, that's like definitely one of my favorites. Thanks for the time, y'all. Peace.
Hey.
Okay, real quick, we just have to talk about this, and I'm just sorry that I'm even bringing this up, but in Beverly Hills Cop Part 1, do you remember when he pulls up on Victor Maitland at the little fancy buffet, and he flips the guy over the table? Have y'all ever noticed the body double from that scene? I don't know if you guys ever looked at that or had anyone break this down for you, but I have to show you. Here's the scene right here. Okay, yeah, you see, if you pause that, if you're watching that, just pause it. Here's the body double. You telling me that ain't Richard Pryor? Yo, the 80s, they were just like, look, we gotta make this any way we can. That dude is about 6'6" and 300 pounds. He was the only one available. I wasn't born when Beverly Hills Cop came out, but I think I would have been a better body double, as just me as an idea. That was terrible. Also, you remember when Eddie tried to like sneak into the hotel and he said he was doing an exclusive interview with Michael Jackson for Rolling Stone, and they told him the rates for that fancy Beverly Hills hotel? You remember what the rate was per night? He couldn't believe the price. It was $235. Ronald Reagan's America. It was far from a meaningless cameo, and you could see that these three still have the same chemistry that we knew and loved from Bad Boys. Bad Boys?